You've probably heard the advice that you should show and not tell. When I first got this advice or heard this tip when I started out writing, it really tripped me up and it was really confusing for me. It didn't make any sense because I was like, all I'm doing is telling stories using words. How am I supposed to show the reader, not tell? Before we dive into this a little bit, I just want to say that style and voice and story are really unique to the writer. Every writer has their own way of going about things, so don't take anything I'm saying here as like the ultimate truth of how you should go about doing it. Really, the tool is just a tool. Showing versus telling is just a tool that you're going to use in your writing to produce emotional impact. Most of what you're actually doing when you're writing is telling. You are mostly going to be telling a story, and there are moments that you can utilize within the plot or the flow of your story where you can show things that will increase the impingement on the reader or create more sensory emotion or sensation for the reader. So the best way to really explain this or show you how this works is to give you a few examples. Telling: it snowed and was cold outside. Showing: frigid air nipped at Jacob's ears. The crunch of ice beneath his boots pierced the silence of the dawn. Telling: Sam was divorced. Showing: Sam rubbed the tan line around his finger, missing the weight of the gold wedding band. Telling: Carol was devastated by the loss of her daughter. Showing: Carol fell before the gravestone, veiled in black. The epitaph read, "If love could have saved you, you would live forever." Grief ripped a hole through Carol's heart. Parents weren't designed to mourn their children. So the basic point here is when you're showing the reader something, you're trying to produce a heavier emotional impact. You're trying to draw their attention towards something, and it's really a choice of how you go about doing that. You aren't going to you aren't going to show them everything. You are going to have to do some telling. Another good gimmick or a way to go about doing this is to use dialogue. Dialogue is a great way to show instead of tell, because what characters say gives you a look inside their mind, how they think, how they look at things, and how they react to things. Here's a few examples. Telling: Joe was hungover. Showing: Joe lumbered into the kitchen. His wife shoved a cup of coffee into his hand. You look like the Walking Dead. How much did I have to drink? Last night I was a little fuzzy. Telling: Dylan didn't want a partner. Showing: I'm your new partner, Sammy said. Dylan eyed the new recruit. Do yourself a favor, kid. Stay away from me. Okay, so these might not be the best examples, and these are not examples that I pulled from any literary source or amazing book. I kind of just put them together real quick for this video so you could get a really quick understanding of the difference between showing and telling. Now, as you can see, especially in some of these examples of the dialogue with the police officer or something, you are communicating a lot. You're communicating a lot more than just saying, with the police officer one, than just saying he didn't want a partner. He's telling this kid, Sammy, to stay away from him. Well, that makes the reader think all kinds of things. Well, why doesn't he want a partner? Is he protective of another young cop getting involved with him? What's the deal? So you have to really just make these decisions purposely as to when to show and not tell. Okay, another word of warning on this is you can start showing too much. You are going to have to be telling the story. That is the whole purpose of what you're doing as a writer, is to move the reader from point A to point B. And if you are showing too much and that's all you're doing, then it can come across like the language is too flowery, it's too artistic, and you're not directly telling the story. You can actually have the reverse impact that you want. So the way that I started to use this in a way that I felt really boosted and enhanced my writing was, where are the points in the story that I want the reader to get hit emotionally? Where do I want the heartstrings pulled? Where do I want the excitement to occur? Where do I want to build mystery? And in those areas of tension or higher levels of emotion in the story, that's where I would start to show things instead of telling. And if it makes more sense to just tell the reader something, just tell them. There's nothing wrong with telling them it's 4 o'clock, or that Jane stabbed Joe in the face, or that Bill ran over his neighbor with a car. There's nothing wrong with that. Those sentences can mean a lot, and they can carry a lot of weight, and they can really impact the reader depending on what you're trying to do. Again, this is just a tool, but it is something that you can use to enhance your writing stylistically and to boost your story. So that's a quick explanation of showing versus telling. I hope that helps you, and I'll see you next time.